Usually elements like time travel give people headaches, but I already had headaches, so watching the episode kind of made me not think about it. Hey everyone, David here with a new review for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I feel like it's been so long since the last one, but it's only been a week. It's just, I don't know, I feel like this week has been long. So to kind of close it out, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. returns, picking up where it last left off with the cliffhanger of May encountering an old Robin in the future. And this made for what could be a very, in fact, what I would argue probably the most thought-provoking episode of not just the season, but probably one of the most thought-provoking episodes of the entire show so far. Mostly in how you're able to kind of digest all the information that is given to you, a la Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. In the sense that this girl, Robin, either as an old woman here in the future or as a young girl back in the past, is living a fractured life and a fractured memory state of mind, because everything that she sees could happen either in the past, in the present, or in the future. And I genuinely felt bad for this girl, because I can definitely understand why so many of the characters around her, whether it be in the future or in the past, would get constantly frustrated with her, because she would say something that's very vital and important, something rather devastating like a loved one dying, and then all of a sudden she just shuts down and would not say anything. Like, she would say something that's super important and then just shut down and not get a peep out of her. And trust me, I would probably lose my shit if I was found in this situation. So I have to give credit to these fictional characters for having the biggest sense of patience. And Enoch even said it, that the patience is key for this kind of situation, and Coulson looked like he was going to lose this shit. So it was a tremendous delight that the biggest payoff with this entire storyline about Robin predicting the future and kind of having remnants of the past still haunting her all the way across this entire timeline, while at the same time having vital information that can get our heroes not only back to the past, but preventing from this whole earth-shattering calamity to happen in the first place. It was the most, what even she accounts as the most unlikely person to be connectedly and emotionally tied to her, and that is Agent May, which was a really good choice, because just today, I found something out that went completely over my head and kind of explains for why Agent May hasn't been getting an awful lot of screen time within the past couple of episodes, and why her injury is so dominant. And that's because, unfortunately, Melinda May herself, Ming-Na Wen, did suffer an injury on the set of Season 5 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I don't know why I overlooked this, because I follow the girl, I follow her, the actress, on Instagram and on Twitter, and I do remember taking account of the photos and the tweets that she was sending out about having to go through therapy and to try to fix her leg, because it was just that bad. So they wrote that into the story, and it did cost her some screen time for the past episodes, but I'm glad that they gave her this episode to really have her perform and have something to do, even if that something is not action oriented, because she literally just throws a couple of punches in this episode and that's it. But they let Ming-Na Wen shine as an actress, at least for the majority of it. I'll say that because I do feel like the acting was a little spotty in times. In fact, there's a flashback conversation between Yo-Yo and May, and there was some hokey acting there, and I don't know if maybe because the actors were tired, or I don't know, but there was a couple of rough spots, in my opinion. And unfortunately, Ming-Na Wen kind of emphasized all of her acting chops on the one pivotal emotional scene at the end where it truly mattered, where she knew that from the script there was going to be intercutting between the old Robin dying in her arms and the young Robin being in her arms trying to fall asleep and trying to be consoled because of her gift, constantly cursing her. She knew that that was where the emotional weight's going to be playing, so that's where most of her acting ability and acting energy kind of went in there. And that's not to blame Ming-Na Wen, because I know Ming-Na Wen could be a terrific actress. I do feel like maybe the director didn't know exactly what to do until that one scene. It was one of those cases, and it happens from time to time. When you read the script, you think, oh my god, this is going to be the awesome, emotional, you know, Oscar caliber scene, but you kind of forget about everything else. You kind of forget about little scenes here and there, and that's why this episode did suffer a little bit from that. Other examples of that kind of happening was the entire storyline between Mac, Flint, and Yo-Yo of going to the station and trying to help out the people from getting eaten by those roaches. Gotta be honest, it just felt like they were going through the notions. Not only that, but there were moments where, like I said, some of that acting was kind of iffy. There were a couple of scenes where the three of them are in a room discussing certain things, and they just didn't look like they were into it. They didn't look like they were in the scene, and it was just pretty much very routine. Even if if it might play into a scenario in which maybe Robin is predicting that Flint is going to be like this second messiah that's going to help out the remaining human people of the lighthouse station, based on what exactly that kind of information she told May at the very end there. Which leads me into my one last complaint about this episode, is some tropes and cliches that I'm saddened to have seen in this episode. I was like, God, are we really doing this? First of all, we have the character dying and she whispers something important to one of our main characters, but we can't hear it. The Walking Dead has done it, various other shows have done it, various other movies have done it, and it's just kind of trite by this point. And man, it was a awesome delight to see the Zephyr again in the future, being kind of like a Mad Max style version of the Zephyr, and having all these characters kind of walk in and be like, wow, it really has been a while since we've seen the Zephyr, and we feel like a little piece of home came with us. So it's cool to see that gleam in all the characters' eyes when they do walk into the Zephyr and be like, okay, cool, that this thing's still around and it's got some cool technology that can get us back. It's just a shame that the people inhabiting it look like they were cool, and then they do the traditional thing of betraying them because they gotta protect the future, and I'm just like, yeah, okay. And even though Robin dying led to that very pivotal emotional scene there at the end that was top tier caliber acting by Ming-Na Wen in this show thus far, I feel like it did come at a cost, and that cost was that I think it would have been very engrossing and very compelling to have seen the growth of a very stoic character like Agent May grow to love such a little girl like Robin was back in the day, especially with, like I said, that power that was just repelling everybody. Because watching those flashbacks, I will admit, they felt kind of fragmented, and they did lose me a little bit. And I understand that when you play in time travel, you can lose some folks, but I'll be modest and say that, you know, I think I do a very decent job at following storylines that have to do with time travel and space-time continuum and all of that good jazz. Especially because I'm a huge fan of those sort of things. Being able to talk amongst my peers and be like, you know, when we watch like movies like Back to the Future or anything that has to do with time travel, and we kind of discuss the different possibilities of infinite possibilities of what things could have happened and all that really nerdy shit. I love it, but I will admit it was very tough to kind of grasp at these flashbacks because they would show 2018, 2022, and I'm like, okay, this is not too far off from what it would have been like if they just stayed in that diner. And I also thought it was a good line when they said that the diner, from what Robin said, was the last time that they were all together, because that made me think of something kind of cool. Ever since they were taken away and got put into space, not all of these characters have been together in one spot. They were always missing one person. Even when we thought that they were together in that in Grill's place there, when they thought that they were reunited, I believe May wasn't with them. May was still being captured, and we were still going through that cliffhanger. So that was a very interesting thing to note. It's just that I was a little let down that we couldn't see more scenes of that relationship between Robin as a little girl and May kind of blossom a little bit better, because it almost kind of reminded me of The Last of Us, which I recently replayed on the PS4, how two characters that tolerate each other, but they're not really kind of like interested in being friends. They're just kind of like whatever, end up being almost inseparable by the end of it. And exactly to see that relationship grow in very unlikely places, I think that would have been a cool angle to do with May and this little girl, but you can only do so much within a 43 minute show. So killing off old Robin kind of it gives it a very clear-cut close on that, because we're not going to be able to see flashbacks unless there's some kind of letter or recording or something like that. I just don't see that playing into the storytelling part of these episodes. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional. There won't be any kind of sense to kind of put those flashbacks back in, because then you're not gonna have Robin saying something nonsensical only to then the episode be like, oh, this is what she means. It's not gonna happen. So that's a bummer, but I thought that was a really good potential point in this episode that kind of piqued my interest. And again, that time travel stuff did make for some very thought-provoking material from this episode. It's just a shame that it came packaged with some things that I'm getting kind of tired of, and I'm sad to see it here in an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode. But now that we kind of got this out of the way, maybe we can make room for some better things. So I'm going to be giving The Last Day a high, very, very high 7 out of 10. And yes, I think this might be my weakest episode of the season, but that's not to say that it has things in there to really get a discussion going amongst all of us Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans. So now it's your guys' turn. What did you guys think of the latest episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Do you think that the time travel was kind of messing with your mind just a little bit too much? Or do you think that this kind of gave you guys some kind of theories and speculations of what could happen with Flint, since it looks like he's going to be playing a very huge role in getting out of this entire situation, which we will see the culmination of within the next 3 weeks? Because another thing that I learned, apart from Ming-Na Wen's injury impacting the show, is that this is in fact the end game for this entire storyline of the whole space and time storyline that they've been doing for season 5 so far, because they will be breaking on February 9th with the mid-season finale for about a month before they continue with something brand new on March 9th. So we only got about 3 episodes left. What are your guys' predictions that are going to happen in those 3 episodes to kind of wrap this entire storyline up? Do you think that it's going to involve Ghost Rider again, or do you think anything else from the preceding past seasons will be coming back to kind of play a huge part? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you like and share this video to show your support, and of course support the channel by hitting the subscribe button. Until next time, guys, see you all later. It kind of tries to do what certain other asymmetrical multiplayer games do, where one character is this big powerful thing and then the other characters are just regular humans trying to take it down. All out Friday the 13th right now. Evolve, however, wasn't as pristine and polished as, well, neither is Friday the 13th.